Welcome to the Raider Nation podcast, where we're talking all things Nettleton. And now, here's your host, Lainey Oliver.
Hello, welcome back to the Raider Nation podcast, everybody. Today, we have a special guest with us, Mr. Watson, the funniest teacher in school.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. So today, we've got a couple of questions we want to ask you, just because, you are the funniest teacher.
Yeah.
We have to ask the funniest teacher what is some questions about himself.
Do what I can, yeah.
Yeah. So, first question, what inspired you to become a teacher?
Well, that's a really good question. It's a really long answer, so I'm going to kind of give you the shortened version of it. Becoming a teacher was something that was kind of on my mind from a very young age. I was inspired. I had a couple of really awesome elementary school teachers. Miss Sloan and Miss Throgmorton were my second and third grade teachers. Absolutely loved them. Loved the way they taught. I grew very close with them. And then kind of after that, you're at a young age. Like your knowledge of occupations is kind of limited, fireman, doctor, teacher.
Yeah.
In 8th grade, I had a teacher by the name of Mr. Stokes, and he was just incredible. He was my English teacher my 8th grade year. I had him again my 10th grade year, like he moved up 2 grades. And that was around the point, 10th, 11th grade year, that's where you're really starting to think about, like, your future, where your future's going. And he was just incredible. He was an incredible person. I had some things kind of going on in my life at that time where I needed a role model outside of my own home type situation. Like, not that I didn't have a good support system outside of school, just needed somebody outside of that. And Mr. Stokes was that kind of person. He was super encouraging. He took a great interest in me, not only as a student, but as a person. And he was one of those teachers who was just super passionate, not only about his subject, but more so about his students and who he taught. And he made such a profound impact on my life that it was like, I want to be this teacher for other people.
Yeah.
Like, he made this impact on me just through teaching English. Reading is obviously something I've always loved to do. I've always been pretty good at English. It's like, this is something I can do. This is something I can pursue. I can make a difference in somebody's life. And so that was kind of my goal behind it. Kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I get to teach literature and grammar and stuff that I'm passionate about, and I get to possibly make a difference in some people's lives. And so that's kind of what attracted me to it, just this goal to kind of be the teachers that I had. Mm-hmm. And then around the same time, I had Dr. Porter and I had Mr. Harris, and they've come to Nettleton since then. I graduated from Jonesboro, and I had them there.
Yeah.
Phenomenal teachers. They've come over here. I'm lucky enough to work with them. But, yeah, just having good teachers that, like, took a genuine interest in their students as well as their subject. I wanted to be that teacher.
And I think you succeeded.
Well, thanks.
I think you did a great job with that.
I appreciate it.
At first, I wanted to be a teacher, but the only reason I said that at my kindergarten graduation was because I was too embarrassed to say I wanted to be Justin Bieber's wife.
You could do both.
I could. I don't know. My style has changed in that. But okay, next question. How would you describe your teaching style?
Oh, gosh. This one, organized chaos is the best way that I can think of it. And those of you who have had me kind of know what I'm talking about. Like, yeah. I'm organized, but we can get off on tangents.
Yeah.
We start talking about things that are related to what's going on, but not quite, But really, like, if I want to truly describe it, like, conversational is kind of what I want to have a dialogue with my students. That's the way that I was taught. That's the way that I learned. And not that there's anything wrong with different teaching methods. I know teachers who teach completely different than me that are phenomenal teachers, right? What works for me, though, is having a dialogue with my students, right? Like, we'll read something, and instead of me giving you notes and saying, here, go do this, we kind of talk through it, right? Like, I want to engage with my students. I want to talk and converse and kind of have a dialogue, a back and forth where we kind of like, okay, we've read this book together. Let's talk about what's really going on. What is the theme? What is the mood? Why do you feel this way? And just kind of discuss that, discussion-based stuff. And that enables me to get to know the way that my students think, the way that their minds work, the way that they learn best. It also enables me to incorporate a lot of humor, which is something that's important to me. The teachers that I've had in the past they were hilarious. And it was one of those things, it was all content related, right? But they would bring in humor, and it would keep their students engaged. And as I was in high school, I was like, this is kind of cool. Like, he's making these jokes, but I'm learning.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of, that's why I bring in, like when I roast Romeo and Juliet, like that's why I do it. It keeps my students engaged.
It's not star-crossed lovers, it's, what is it, stupid lovers? What'd she say?
Idiots.
Idiot lovers.
Idiot lovers.
Yep. That was my sister, everybody.
Shout out to McKenna.
But yeah, I felt that way a lot in your classes, and I feel like that creates more open-minded students. Mm-hmm. Do you need to cough?
No.
Okay. I can mute.
Okay.
But yeah, I agree with that. Next question. I know we already kind of talked about this when you first got in here, but how do you feel about being the funniest teacher in school?
I mean, look, I'm the people's champ. That's all there is to it. I'm a person of the people. There are accusations going around that I have paid people off. There are all sorts of horrible, just false accusations going on. I won that title fair and square. Like, I had nothing to do with it. I'm just a naturally funny person. And I mean, there are teachers at this school who try really hard to be funny and occasionally succeed. But, there's just something about being effortlessly funny that I think the students see and recognize and appreciate that. And look, we can't all just naturally be hilarious.
Yeah.
So some teachers have just accepted that they're not funny and they've moved on with their lives, and other people just need to reach that point, I think.
Yeah. We know names, but we're not going to say. Anyways. Okay. If one of your students wanted to be a teacher, what would be some advice you would give them?
Okay, so that's a good question. First and foremost, I would say make sure that you like people, okay? Because my teaching philosophy is something that has always been at the forefront because of the teachers that have inspired me, because of mentor teachers I had as I was going through college. Something that I heard several times: love the people that you teach more than the subject that you teach.
Yeah.
I'm passionate about English. Like, anybody who sits in my class for more than a minute probably knows that, right? Like, when we're reading To Kill a Mockingbird or The Odyssey or Romeo and Juliet or Edgar Allan Poe, like, it comes across that I love that stuff.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, my students are more important to me than that, right? Like, being able to invest in students in whatever way that comes, whether it's, being supportive in whatever way I can, helping you, find a love for literature that you've never had before, just getting through my class, like setting you up with skills that are going to help you advance to the next grade and hopefully will help you in life. Like, that's my goal. So if you want to be a good teacher, you've got to care more about the people that you're teaching than the subject that you are.
Yeah.
Right? Like, don't go into teaching if you don't like people. That's something that I really want to drive home. And then outside of that, like, understand that there are going to be tough days. There are going to be moments that you get frustrated. Remember why you do what you do. Every single teacher that I've talked to has become a teacher because a teacher impacted their life.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's, oh, Mr. So-and-so, Miss So-and-so, they were so awesome, they made me want to go into teaching. Remember why you went into the profession. Find a subject that you are passionate about, something that you enjoy. If you don't like history, don't become a history teacher.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then just stick with it. Like, through the bad days, through the tough times, stick with it. Understand that there's stuff, as a teacher that you cannot learn in a classroom in a college, right? The majority of stuff that I know now about teaching, I learned through experience.
Yeah.
So, find a mentor teacher. Find a teacher, maybe even a teacher that you've had in the past. Talk to them, get their advice, listen to them, hear them out, and just absorb from them. So yeah, love the people that you teach more than what you teach. Find a good mentor teacher. Stick with the subject that you love and just stick with it. That's my advice.
Good stuff. Okay, next question. I feel like I already know the answer to this one, but it was still one to ask. What is your hidden talent?
I play 4 instruments.
That's what I knew. I knew it was going to be something about music.
Not super hidden. I play guitar, bass, piano, and drums. A little bit of piano. I kind of tinker with it, but yeah. That's kind of my hidden talent, other than just being able to recite like certain poems and stuff. But again, that's not really a hidden talent either. But yeah, music for sure is something that not everybody knows that I do.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I knew about that though. I'm proud of that. What are some books that you would bring with you if you knew you were going to be trapped on a deserted island?
Okay, so first of all, the Bible, because duh.
Yeah. Understandable.
Man, I'm gonna kind of do a cop out here. The complete works of Edgar Allan Poe. I'm gonna say, just because there's so much in that. Because when I'm thinking deserted island, it's like, what kind of stuff would I not mind reading repeatedly?
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna kind of give you my top 5. Complete works of Edgar Allan Poe, To Kill a Mockingbird. We'll go 11/22/63 by Stephen King. It's a good one. It's a historical fiction, kind of fantasy, sci-fi novel. Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. It's a fantasy novel. It's like 1,000 pages long, so that would keep me entertained for a while. And then The Chronicles of Narnia.
Good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I'd have to bring movies. Like, if I could bring... I don't know. Because, like, reading, I could, like... I'm one of those people, like, I could read, like, a whole paragraph and then get done with it and be like, I have no idea what I just read. So, I would just have to do movies.
I got you.
Yeah. What is your favorite dish from the cafeteria?
Crispito's easy.
I miss them.
Anybody with half a brain knows.
Yes.
No, you know what's up. Bring the Crispitos back.
Bring the Crispitos back.
We're going to start a campaign.
We need to get t-shirts.
Yeah.
I'll make them.
Outside of that, I mean, I don't know. Around Thanksgiving, they serve really good turkey and dressing.
I think so too.
I'm all about that. But yeah, bring the Crispitos back. That's if you come away with nothing else from this, we need to bring the Crispitos back.
Yes, I agree. What are your favorite embarrassing teacher moments?
Oh gosh. I mean, any moment involving Craig Miller is pretty embarrassing. So I'm gonna say that. No. In all seriousness, story that I think everybody in my class hears at one point or another in the year. My internship year at school, there was a crow that got into my classroom. There's a whole long, elaborate story, but the long and short of it is there was a crow in the closet. We knew there was a crow in the closet. The custodians came to get the crow out of the closet, and it hid. The second they left the room, it started making its presence known again.
Yeah.
We opened the closet door, and the bird came out and attacked my third period class.
I remember you telling us about that. I can't remember if that was my freshman year or sophomore year, but...
Could have been both. I tell it every year. It is a moment that is so ingrained in my... Because I was a college student. I was like 22 at the time.
Yeah.
And this bird is flying around the classroom, and I'm like, this is my life. This is what I get to do for the rest of my life. What is going on? And then we had this awkward stare down.
Yeah.
There have been a couple of times where, like, I pace the aisles whenever I read. Like, if I'm reading out loud. There have been a couple of times where backpacks have nearly completely destroyed any sort of dignity that I've had, where like I've almost tripped over them.
Yeah. Because high school students are brutal.
Oh yeah,
they will bring that up for the rest of your life.
Oh, for sure. I broke a chair one time in front of a class. That was super fun.
Yeah.
But you know, these are things that, like, as a teacher, you just kind of learn to laugh and roll with it.
And then, hope you've got good students that'll laugh at it with you.
That's true. And then I get, like, weird things from students. Like, I've got this kid right now in my creative writing class who draws weird pictures of me every day. Like, she's working through every artistic medium right now. Like, I've got one that was pen. I've got one that's pencil. I'm fairly certain that she's going to do, like, an ice carving at some point. Had kids a couple of years ago buy me a stuffed duck that moved around my classroom and kind of became the class mascot. So that was a weird thing. Kids fought over that. It was just weird little things like that.
It was the student possibly Erica Batko.
The one doing the drawings, yes. The duck kid was another person who just so happens to host the Raider Rundown.
Well, there you go. There you go. Okay. How long do you think you would survive in a zombie apocalypse?
Okay, so this right here shows the difference between the person who I want to be and the person that I really am. I like to think that I would survive the entire time. Like, I would like to think that my survival instinct would kick in. I would just, like, be, strung out on coffee the entire time. But the reality is I would probably do something incredibly stupid that would get myself killed, like, within the first week. So,
I feel the same way. Like, we've all watched The Walking Dead, probably.
Yeah.
Majority of us. And, I watch it and I'm like, yeah, I could totally do that. Like, that's no big deal. And then, like, I see myself as a person. I was like, no, I'd die in the first 20 minutes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, no. I'd be the first one dead.
I would not make it the whole time if we're being realistic.
Okay. Now, you know this. Mm-hmm. In which Hogwarts house would you be sorted into? And what Hogwarts house... Okay, so what Hogwarts house are you in, but which one do you think you should belong in?
Okay, so I am a Ravenclaw.
Yeah.
Actually. So here's the thing. Me, personally, Shawn Watson, I'm a total Ravenclaw.
Yeah.
My classroom persona, which people need to understand, the Mr. Watson that you see is not the same person that I am outside of school. Like, two different people.
Yeah.
Mr. Watson is a Slytherin. I am a Ravenclaw.
Yes.
So,
I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
It adds up. I couldn't remember if you were a Slytherin or a Ravenclaw.
Yeah.
But like that,
which I've got, sure. I have qualities of both. I come across more as a Slytherin in my classroom setting just because I think it's funny to be sarcastic and mess with my students' heads a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, last question. Important question. What is a quote you live your life by?
Okay, so there are two. The first one is Colossians 3:23, which says, whatever you do, work at it heartily as though working for God and not men. And just that whole idea of doing something with your whole heart, like putting everything you have into something, like that's something that just resonated with me and has stuck with me for forever.
Yeah.
And then Atticus Finch in To Kill a Mockingbird says, you never truly understand a person until you see things from his point of view, until you get into his skin and walk around in it. Something as a teacher and as a human being that I've really had to learn, and something that's just kind of humbled me as a person, is this knowledge that the life experiences that I have are not the same as what my students have or the people that I interact with on a daily basis have. I need to learn to see things from other people's perspectives so that I can, show them empathy and grace and, love and kindness and all of those things that are necessary for us to get through life. So really just that quote. Man, To Kill a Mockingbird is my favorite book, and I think pretty much everybody knows that at this point. But like that quote, just it's something that I try to live my life by. See things from other people's perspective. Try to understand where other people are coming from. That way you can interact with them in a way that's a lot more positive, right?
Yeah. Mine's live, laugh, love.
Hey, there you go. My wife has that on a wall somewhere in our house, I'm sure.
Every mother does. Well, that's all the questions we have for you today. Thank you for coming on here and showing your funniness to everyone and proving it.
It's what I do.
All right. Thank you.
Raider Pride.
Raider Pride.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Raider Nation podcast. Make sure to join us next time. And as always, Raider Pride is justified. Raider Pride forever.